My name's Andy Najar, and I'm the lead case manager for the LALU's program, which is a self-sufficiency program for single parents with children. It's a housing program. It's transitional housings for about 2 years. We let you, you come in for a year, and then we reevaluate you for the second year. And overall, a lot of people do stay there for the second year. If you haven't really met the requirements, you're not motivated. At that time we we reevaluate it and we see maybe this is not a right fit for you. So what we require is for people to either go to school part-time or full-time, or work full-time or part-time. So what we want to try to do is help as many families as we can to become self-sufficient in the short amount of time that we only have a year. They're usually single parents with children. Right now, most families have either one or two children. We probably have quite a few people like domestic violence, but then also coming from the Barrett Foundation, which is not a domestic violence shelter, but it's families that really hit hard times. Either they're coming through town and they get stranded, or a single parent just can no longer pay the rent, so they look for help, and they go to the Barrett Foundation or either Family Promise, and then we'll go ahead and pick up the families from there. Having a person coming into the program and just really been like a domestic violence, that it takes a long time for a person to really get over, mentally what's going on. So we really encourage them to go to counseling, really, participate in our self-esteem classes, start going to school. Sometimes when you focus on yourself in school, that's really good for your self-esteem. So we've seen, women come in where they've been really treated really bad, and it's really hard to be a single parent with 3 kids, and all of a sudden they're taking 2 classes at CNM, and they're being introduced to a whole different environment, and they start feeling good about themselves, and that's what's really nice. And knowing that it's not only you going through the same situation, but there's other families, and coming together and meeting like some of the support groups that we have, maybe our budgeting, our parenting, seeing how each family's improving a little bit by a little bit. So it's really nice to see families grow in the year that they're here. I remember having a client. She worked really, really hard, and she earned her associate. She went ahead and earned her degree, well, yeah, in sonogram. And what's really nice is that now she lives in Phoenix, getting like $25 an hour. So that was really great. But she had decided she was having a really hard time with her husband. Her husband wasn't pitching in, and she decided, it's time to leave him because he just wasn't pulling his weight. So she became homeless. Catholic Charities helped her as far as for 2 years, and she earned her degree. And I remember going there and having home visits with her, and I think it was like for physics, she was having a really hard time. She broke down and cried, but she was on it, and she really tried really hard. And then she was also working during the weekends at the heart hospital. So she really put in a lot of time in her studies and working part-time. And when she graduated, I went to celebrate her graduation, and it was just really nice to see that, if you really, really want it, it really can happen. Well, I think for that, a lot of household good items. A lot of the families that we we really give priority to come straight from the shelters, whether it's domestic violence or a shelter that takes in families. So what we do is we go ahead and try to give them the basic stuff, and that's your pots and pans, sheets, pillows, things that the household goods that they need to replace, because a lot of times either they lose their home and they lose everything because the landlord decided to call the sheriff to get them out, or so they just lose everything. So it's about starting all over at Catholic Charities. So we really try to provide beds, furnishing, couches, just anything you can give would be great. We don't have I love families in New Mexico. I love to see, I love the state, I love the city, and I love my families here in New Mexico. And I think anything we can do to encourage one another to make us have a better life, a better environment, better community, that's what I aim for.